Welcome back to Melly Loves Death Metal. Happy Monday, or Veterans Day if you live in the U.S. It is a holiday today for me anyway. Unfortunately, for some reason I thought my kids were off of school today too, but they're not. So um, I get the day to myself, so I'm not complaining. But my company is closed for today. So today is being utilized for catching up on new releases that came out the last like week or two that I haven't really fully checked out yet. One of those is the new Funeral album out on Season of Mist. I've heard the first like three songs, and I like what I hear so far. So I gotta listen to it a little bit more. And then let's see here. I'm tired. I slept in today and I'm still tired. Anyway, so yeah, I'll be catching up on new releases and then a couple of records that I have yet to listen to that I've had in my collection for a while. And one of them I I prioritized this morning and last night. I did listen to it the day I got it, which was almost a month ago, but I have not done repeated spins on it. And I finally did that yesterday and today. And damn, what a good album this is. And of course, shout out to Marty. Actually, Marty, did you show this off on that Heavy Melody stream that we did? I can't remember. I know for a fact Simon and Alan were high praising this on the mid-year, our favorite albums to come out so far this year. This was like their top album, and that is Unaussprechlichen Kulten, I think is how you say their band name. I really fucking butchered that. With Haxon at, what is that again? Sabaoth? I don't know. I don't speak the language. This is a band that is from Chile. And I've never heard of them before. Surprisingly, they held this up, and I immediately was drawn to that album artwork of that nice little devil there, looking all like he's probably gonna be your best friend, but undoubtedly is probably the most evil person you'll ever have in your life. Anyway, so they talked pretty high praise of it, and I remember that night, I wrote it down. I was writing down some of the releases that I had never heard of. And goddamn, I can't stop yawning. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what the hell my problem is. Anyway, so I wrote it down, and then I never went and listened to it again. And then I started seeing it circulating on YouTube again. More people started showing it in their collection updates, and I was like, God damn, I need to listen to that because chances are, if Alan is saying he likes it and Simon has high praise of it, I'm probably going to really like it. And I ended up obviously really liking it because I bought it. But this is their one, two, three, four, fifth full length album, so I've never heard any of their other ones. Um, this is death metal, done in a very dark manner. H.P. Lovecraftian themes. Um, and yeah, I mean it's a really dark album, death metal album. It's not like a meat and potatoes death metal album. It's just evil sounding. It's got awesome like snarly vocals, and really well written guitar riffs that have a very melodic feel to them, like a very dark melodic feel to them. Almost feels a little bit blackened with those, just with that incorporation of it, just of how dark and dissonant it can be. So, at first I thought this might be a blackened death metal album, but it's definitely more death metal than anything. And it's got really good guitar riffs, like and they're fairly melodic in that regard, but like not melodic like melodic death metal, but just that they have a really good melody to them. They're just very well written. The compositions on this album are very good. This is definitely very well written death metal. I say that, and sometimes people laugh at me, and I'm like, well, you need to understand, like, there's a musicianship to these albums that these guys do, and like, there's definitely great guitar work on this. There's great atmosphere. It's got a little bit more of a distant atmosphere to it. The drumming is phenomenal. It's definitely, in terms of re-listenability, it's there. I've listened to it probably 5 times in the last 2 days, and every single time it gets better and better and better, and it's like an exhilarating listening. It feels like almost fun to have found such a well composed, well done like death metal album. Like, it is very good. So now I understand why people are high praising this. So this is out on Iron Bonehead Records. Like I said, I don't know anything else that this band has done. This is one of those bands I need to go back and dive into. I believe they are a 4-piece, but at the start I think they were a 3-piece. This came out back in February, so it was like one of the first releases of the year. It just totally skated me by. It's 42 minutes long and 7 tracks. Each track is relatively a longer track. There are no like short interludes or anything like that on here. It is just very heavy, crushing, dense. Dense is a light word, I would say. It's not too dense, but it definitely has its moments where it does feel very dissonant and dense album, but it's simply phenomenal. Checking the members of this particular album, Atomizer Pig is the bassist. Check to see if he's in other bands that I know. He's not. Same thing with the vocalist. Don't know him. Butcher of Christ, it's his drummer. Don't recognize any of the bands that he's in. I just was curious to see because I could see them, having another band that they might be in that I'm in. Black Vortex. Okay, so I'm familiar with who that band is. Okay, but yeah, the band is out of Chile. Amazing Chilean death metal. Iron Bonehead Records. So yeah, February 2nd is when this came out. I picked this up from Nameless Graves Records. They had some sort of like a sale going on almost 2 months now, I think, close to 2 months. And I saw that they had this for a very good price and said, okay, I'm going to buy that. I think it was like $20, $25 with the discount, plus shipping. And so I added it into my order. But Iron Bonehead also gets distroed through NWN. So if you're in the US and that's where you want to go, but I've also seen this on several other distros too, in the US. I'm blanking right now. I know I've seen it on NWN. I've seen it in Discogs. There's several like local record stores in the United States that are putting this on Discogs for. So yeah, it's accessible. Iron Bonehead usually is pretty accessible now in the US. I remember back in the day when it was hard to get their stuff and you had to pay that European shipping and it was pricey. But now they have really good distribution in the US. So it is a really nice gatefold of some very cultish Cthulhu artifacts there, which is the main theme of the band. And then here's the back. The album artwork. And it has some more theme stories in here and talks more about it. This Unaussprechlichen Kulten or whatever is based on a book, I believe. I can't remember anything about the book, but when I was Googling this band, that's the first thing that popped up. And so then I had to put band at the end of it, so I need to look a little bit farther into that. But yeah, I wanted to see who did the artwork because I really, really like the artwork. It's cool. Cover is an oil on canvas painted by Rodrigo Salvatierra. I probably butchered that. So if you want to just pause right there and read the liner notes of who did the album artwork. I quite enjoy the album artwork. There's a lot of little Easter eggs in here if you really look into it. I will show you a few that caught my attention as I was looking through this. None of them are appropriate, so good luck with that. So we've got a nice little anus there. Is that an anus or is that something else? No, that's the other thing on the body that I am really bad at determining. And then we've got Mr. Over here. Come on, figure out where my finger is on the camera. Over here doing some phallic thing there. Let's see what else here. Of course, I picked out those 2 Easter eggs to show you. There's several other things in here. Quite a lot of imagery. Very well painted. I mean, oil painting is very hard. I've taken a lot of art classes in my day, back in high school and college, and I was always better with watercolors and acrylics. Oil was just always really, really tough. Yeah, there's a lot of other Easter eggs in here. So if you want to just Google the image, you can zoom in and look at all these things. But it is really, really well done. Comes with a bifold printed inner sheet of lyrics. Some more artwork here, and even more artwork of even some more very highly appropriate imagery here that would be banned in Florida schools if this were in a children's book. Yeah, or just a book in general. They probably would ban this in high school too, because Florida's a bunch of fucking pussies when it comes to shit like that. So anyway, and then it also has a poster of the album artwork. But what I kind of like what they did with this poster is they put it in a gold border. I had intended of hanging this in my room, but then when I started noticing the Easter eggs, I was like, I don't really want to have my children question things, and just right now, I'm just not in the mood for that. But I do like the album artwork, and then there's a printed inner sleeve that they included, which I'm not too sure why they did that, because they don't house the vinyl in here, but just more additional artwork here, the Iron Bonehead on the backside, because the album itself comes in these awesome new poly-lined inner sleeves that Iron Bone has been doing for their newer releases. And it's just classic black. Pretty sure that's the only option that they offered, which I am game for. Iron Bonehead, I feel like they're speaking to probably a lot of their fan base here and doing it that way. I don't think I've ever seen another color pressing of that. I'm pretty sure there wasn't another one. It was just classic black. I think Tetragrammaci last year had a colored version, but I never even saw it available. That thing sold out super fast. So Iron Bonehead is usually black vinyl that I buy on. I rarely ever get color from them. So yeah, it's a very good album. I really, really like it. I love how dark it is, and I do like the at times dissonant atmosphere. The guitar work feels more black metal-ish, more melodic black metal-ish, but they coincide really well together with the remaining atmosphere that's going on. Just really dark and crushing death metal. It is by far one of the more sinister and one of the more evil and darker sounding death metal albums that I have listened to this year. And I absolutely love it. I mean, usually the darker the better for me. The heavier, the darker, the better for me. Dissonance has been the year for me of listening of all of my favorite. A lot of my favorite albums has had that atmosphere added to it. This one doesn't have the crushing dissonance of Ulcerate, but it does have just that dark, very dark and smothering theme in it. So very good. Again, the guitar work is absolutely my favorite. There's a track on here on the B side. I think it's the first track. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me check. Let me just verify that. Where they just maybe actually I think it's the second track. Back to the Mother Hydra and Father Dragon. It's a straight up jam fest. Not a whole lot of lyrics, just crushing death metal jam fest, amazing guitar work. So I really, really like when bands do something like that, because as much as I love the gurgs and the brutes of death metal, I do like the more sophisticated death metal where they write very, very well composed songs with phenomenal guitars. So awesome album. I'm glad that I am now getting off my ass and going and looking and listening to these things that Simon and others have been sending my way all year, and I've just been putting it off until now, of course, at the end of the year. But great stuff. So that's all that I have for today. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Link will be in the description of where you can listen to this on Bandcamp, as well as where you can purchase it in the US. I'll also put the link for Iron Bonehead. I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to put links for both that caters to both people's needs of the US and international. However, the international piece, it's not my forte. I don't always know exactly the best places for people to buy from, because depending on where you're located, I don't know if that's actually good or not for you, especially if you're down in Australia. For my two Australian listeners of Jeff and Simon, I don't always know where the best place for you guys to get some of these things. But you have some of the most amazing record stores in Sydney. My God, Simon just walks in and he's like, oh, here's a first pressing of Edge of Sanity Crimson on CD that's just sitting here in the bin. When I try to find it in the US, it's like $100. What the fuck? I need to get the hell out of here. That's all that I have. I'll see you guys in the next one.